So before we end, we were discussing about control structures. So remember, we are talking about algorithms. So how did we define algorithm?
We defined algorithm as a step-by-step procedure on how to solve a problem or to perform a specific task.
Thank you. So we defined an algorithm as a step-by-step of solving a problem. So in computer science, we are not solving any kind of problem, but we are trying to solve, we're trying to see how you can write a computer program, a computer instruction to solve a computer problem. So this is why we talk about algorithm. And in algorithm, you have seen that the algorithm can be written in different ways, including flowcharts. You can write an algorithm using pseudocode, or you can write instructions that can be readable by some of the computers. So the part of control structure or algorithm we were discussing is the control structure. So in this lesson, we will be able to see how you can apply or how you can write instructions by applying control structures. So by definition, you can say, who can read for us? Let me ask Ariette to read for us.
Control structures or statements refer to conditional logic that determines the flow of algorithm or execution of a program. The three types of control structures discussed in this unit are sequence, selection, and looping.
Thank you very much, Ariette. So we are seeing that control structure is a kind of conditional logic. And this conditional logic determines the flow. Can you please mute your microphone? Queenie and Alexa, can you please mute yourself? You unmute when you have to say something. So we are saying that the control structure refers to a conditional logic. So you know in English about conditional logic. If you say, for example, if I was the president of Republic Rwanda, I would do something. So there is a condition behind. So, and this determines the flow of an algorithm or the execution of the program. So this flow or this conditional logic will determine how the instructions are going to follow each other when they are being executed or when they are being solving the problem. So here we are going to discuss three types of control structure, including sequencing, selection, and looping. And we are going to see all of this. Let's now begin from the sequence control structure. May I ask Alexa to read for us? The first bullet.
Okay. Sequence control structure refers to logical flow of statements one after another in the order in which they are written. This means that algorithms designed using sequence control do not depend on evaluation of a conditional logic.
Thank you very much. So when we say about sequence, so basically in real life, when we say sequence, we mean how things are followed each other. Which comes first, which comes next, and so on and so on. So which means if the instruction is to come second, then it comes first. So there it will not be following the sequencing. So the sequence has a structure where the instructions should begin and where it should end. So in a sequence structure control, sequence control structure, this is the logical flow of the statements. And here we have to write instructions, and each instruction has to come after another without mixed up. So for example, here we have this program. What do you think this program does? We have begin var number 1, number 2, sum product as value of integers. Then we put instructions saying print enter 2 numbers, then read number 1, number 2, sum equals number 1 plus number 2 product, number 1 times number 2. Then we print sum, we print product, and we end. So what do you think this program will do? Hortense, any idea about this sequence of instruction? Hortense, are you hearing us? Okay, Sentete, I see you have raised your hand. Go ahead.
I think this shows how this is a program that shows the sum and the product of 2 numbers.
Okay, thank you. So basically, this is a pseudocode, and this pseudocode shows the sequence, the flow of the statement. So what would happen if we begin by this line? See the line I'm underlining. Then, secondly, if we make this the first line, then this comes secondly, then this comes third, this comes fourth, fifth, then sixth. What do you think will happen? If you have an answer, please raise your hand and tell us. If I order these instructions as the way they are numbered, what do you think will happen?
Okay, I think if you start by declaring variables, then you go to the process of sum, it will be a huge error because you didn't enter the numbers that you have declared. So you won't know which are these numbers you're adding to bring a sum because you didn't enter, and the computer didn't understand what you're entering.
Yes,
so the rest of the
Okay, thank you very much. So basically, yeah, this would be instructions, but the instruction may not do what it is supposed to do. Remember, in a computer system, number 1, we should have the input. Then the input has to be processed. Then the process gives out the output. Then this output can be stored. So which means number 1, you should have the input. The input is going to be processed, then the output comes. So here, the line 1, we know on line 1 we are declaring variables. And remember, the variables are storage. location memory to hold values. Then here we display a message telling the user what to do. And the user will know that he or she is going to enter 2 values or 2 numbers. Then this read, you remember that it's just the input. So it will take values from the keyboard or the input device, then store in those two variables. Then after storing those 2 variables, then we have to calculate the sum by taking the number 1, the value stored in number 1, we add it to the value stored in number 2, then we store the answer or the sum in the variable sum. We do the same on the product. Then after we display the value which is stored in sum and the value which is stored in the product. And this is the sequence of our program. So basically, this is what we call the sequence control structure. So you have to arrange the instruction in a logical way. Any question about this? If you have a question, please, you can raise your hand, then we'll give you time to say what you want to say. Let's move to the next. Number 2 is selection control structure. Or Dorcas, if you are hearing us, can you read for us?
Two is selection control structure. Selection control structure, also known as decision control statement, is a conditional logic used when there's one or more alternatives to choose from. If a selection statement provides several alternatives to choose from, we refer to such statement as case selection. The 4 types of selection control are if then, else, nested if, and switch or case.
Okay, thank you very much, Dorcas. So basically, selection control structure, it's a way to make a decision. So with the selection control structure, there should be a conditional logic to be evaluated. And this conditional logic has to return either true or false. So if the value is true or the returned value is true, there is something which is going to happen, or if it is false, there is also something which will happen. Basically, we have 4 types of selection control structures. These are if then else, nested if, and switch case. So you're going to go through each and every type and see how it is implemented in algorithm. Number 1, it's if then selection. I ask Patience to read for us bullet 2 and bullet 3.
The if-then selection is a conditional logic used to test whether the condition is true before an action is taken. If the condition is true, the statement in the body of the statement is executed, otherwise nothing happens if false. The general syntax of if-then is expressed as follows. If condition is true, then do task A. And if, for example, if in the following statement, if then condition text where the mark is 80 and above. If the condition is true, the statement distinction is displayed. If the condition is false, nothing happens.
Okay, thank you very much, Patience. See, Queen can't hear as well. Is it the issue to everyone? You are not getting me well, please. Plus, are you getting me well? Are you hearing me well?
Yes.
So maybe it's the issue, the Queen's problem. She needs to check.
Maybe she didn't connect to the audio.
Yeah, she needs to check her connection. Okay, so now on this, with the if-then selection, this is our conditional logic, which is used to test whether the condition is true. So basically, this does not check the condition whether it is false. No, it's either it tests whether the condition is true or it is false, but not both. It tests one at a time. So here we have the general notation. Sorry. The general notation for this is here. So we have an if condition. Then here, there should be a condition. And this condition, we say the condition, should be a Boolean expression. The condition should be a Boolean expression. What does it mean? Being a Boolean expression, it means it has to return either true or false. And the Boolean expression uses what we call relational. It uses what we call relational operators. And the relational operators are, what are the relational operators? Someone to tell me what are the relational operators? Philippine, are you online? Yes, Divine, you have raised your hand.
I think the relational operators are less than equal, or less than or equal, or greater than or equal, or
Less than or
I think the
equal.
relational operators are less than,
Mm-hmm.
less than only, and greater than.
And greater than. And here also we have this. When they combined, in algorithm, we say this is not equal. This is not equal. And we have also equal. So basically these are the relational algebra, the relational operators. So they are less than or equal, greater than or equal, less than, greater than, not equal to, and equal to. So the condition should use those operators, one of those operators. So for example here, we want to test, we want to use the if then to test whether the mark provided by the user is above, is 80 or and above. So here we'll say if mark greater than 80, then print the message distinction. Then we end the condition. We end the condition. So here means if the condition here is true, this message will be displayed. So basically, we call this body. This is called body of if condition. So the body of the if condition will be executed if the condition evaluates to true. So now here the mark should be, now for example, let's say we have stored, we say mark here equals 65. The value stored in mark is 65. Then we say if mark is greater than or equal to 80, then print distinction and if. If the program, our pseudocode is like this, what will be the output? Anyone to answer? We have mark equals 60.
Nothing.
Thank you very much. So nothing will be displayed because the condition is not evaluated to true. So basically it's now here. If the condition is false, nothing will happen. Any question here? Is it clear? Please, if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand or you just type in chat. Thank you. See it clear? I see it's clear to everyone. Let's move on. Then so one important application of if-then selection is to validate user input. So basically, the if-then selection is mostly used in validating the user input. For example, when you are on internet while let's say you are applying and you have to supply your name, so it will be used to check whether what you have entered in the first name is characters. If not characters, so it will reject. So this is one way of using of application of the if then. For example, here we have the flowcharts, which will show the how you can validate the user input. For example, you are in Academic Bridge, our system, and you are entering the marks obtained by the students. Then what would happen if the teacher tries to enter the negative, let's say by mistake, teacher tries to enter -10. Does this mark exist? So basically it has to check whether it will check if the marks entered or the mark entered is 0 and above. So if the user tries to enter the mark which is less than 0, so the message to be displayed is invalid marks. So in that case, the user or teacher will know that he has entered wrong information or wrong marks. I think it's clear there. Now here we have a simple example. We have to write an algorithm that asks the user to enter any integer number. Users to enter any integer number, then tests if the number is positive. So you remember, a number to be positive, the number has to be greater than 0. So number one, first we have to declare a variable num, which will store the number you are entering. Then after, you tell the user what to do. Please enter any integer number. Then we read num, can put per bracket or you leave it. Then we test, is the number entered greater than 0? If yes, it will display the message saying the number you've entered is positive. Then you end the condition. Then this is the end of the flowchart, or I mean of the pseudocode. I think the example here is clear. Now we go to the second selection control structure. Let me ask Tanya to read for us, if no question.
Okay. If else selection is suitable when there are two available options. In general, the format of if-else statement can be represented as if condition then statement 1 if true, else statement 2 if false, and if. Explanation: the Boolean expression within if-then statement is first evaluated. If it is true, statement 1 is evaluated. Otherwise, statement 2 is evaluated if the condition returns false.
Okay, so this is the how the if then else selection is used. So basically it is applied if two alternatives are possible. And here we have the general syntax. The general syntax is if then, if the condition, remember the condition has to be a Boolean expression, then the statement 1 will be executed if this condition is evaluated to true. Otherwise, the statement 2 will be evaluated. Is there anyone who can give us an example where the if then else selection can be applied? Yes, Devin, go ahead.
I think it can be applied when like comparing two numbers.
Mm-hmm.
If to see whether the largest and the smallest.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. So this can be used to test the larger number among two numbers. For example, if I ask you to write a program which will ask the user to enter two numbers, then the program display the largest number. So in that case, it will compare to. So how will we formulate the condition in that case? How can we write that program? Who can tell me what to write? should we do? Number one, we say begin. What next? We want, so
I'm not getting you.
You are not getting me. Can you see my
Yes.
screen? You can see my screen?
Huh?
Can you see my whiteboard?
Yes.
So now we want to write. So the program is write an algorithm that requests two integer numbers, then displays the largest. So this is the algorithm we have to write. Are you getting me well?
Yes.
Good. Now, first we have to write begin. What is the next? What is the next?
I think the next will be to declare the variable.
Great. How many variables do we need?
Two variables.
We need two variables. Let's declare two variables, num1, num2 as integer. Okay, so we've declared two variables, num1, num2 as integer. What next? Yes, Philippine?
I think it's to enter those two numbers.
Great. Next, we are going to enter the numbers. First, let's put a message, right? Enter two integer numbers. Then we say read num1, then num2. Am I right? So,
Yes.
okay, what next? What is the next? So remember, we need to test whether which is the largest number among two numbers. What should I write next?
I think you should start with if num1 is is greater than or equal to num2, then print
if num1 greater than
is or equal to
what?
num2,
Num2. Then
print
what?
num1 is greater than num2.
Num1 is greater than num2.
Else
Okay, else
num2 greater than or equal to num1.
I write num2
greater than or equal to num1. Print
num2 is greater
than
than
num1.
num1.
And if
then end.
in the program.
Thank you. Class, what do you think about this pseudocode?
I have a question.
Yes.
Like on that part when you said if num1 is greater than or equal to num2, should we use greater than or equal to or just greater than, because they said want to know which one is the largest?
A good question. Should we say greater than or equal to num2, or we just say num1 greater than num2? Who have the answer?
I think both.
Harriet?
I think both can work.
Both can work?
I think you can say,
yes, Harriet.
I think you should say greater than or equal to, because you never know, it might be equal to or it might be greater than.
Okay, so now let's consider num1 equals 10, num2 equals 10. What would be the output? If we say if 10 greater than or equal 10 can we say now 10 is greater than 10? Is that true?
Nope.
So basically 10 is not greater than 10. So this is why here, thank you, we need to say greater than. We simply say num1 If num1 greater than num2, then we print num1 is greater than num2. Agree?
Yes.
Yes. Please,
Yes, yes.
if you have raised your hand, please remember to lower your hand when you are done. Now, let's come here on this line. Else, so you remember in the syntax says it's if condition, then statement 1 is executed, else statement 2 is executed. So do you think here we did right? Class, is this line correct? Advin is saying no. Why? Divine and Elise, you are saying no. What should we say? Elise. Elise, what should we say at this line?
We should say that else num2 is greater than num1 because if on that example that you gave us, that if num1 is equal to 10 and num2 is 10, then num2 can't be greater than 1 when they are both 10. So I guess we just have to use only greater than.
So for you, you want us to remove greater than, then we say else num1, num2 greater than num1.
Yes, num2 greater than num1.
Others, what do you think?
I think you should lab num2 greater than num1.
The same.
For me, I think that we shouldn't put that num2 is greater than num1, since we already have the option that if num1 is greater than num2, then they'll print that. I think you should just write else, print num2 is greater than num1.
Snaps Shanice. Thank you very much. So basically, when we say else, we don't put condition because basically else, it's a kind of otherwise. So which means we are checking if this condition is true. If this condition is not true, it will check the next condition, which means the next condition, it will be false. So now we say else, print num. So means if the num1 is, let's say we have num1 equals to 10 and num2 equals 16. Now we are going to check, is 10 greater than num2. If the condition is false, it will come here in else, then print what is in else. But if the condition is here, if the condition here is true, it will print this, then go to the end. But if this condition is false, it will go in else, then print what is in else, then it goes to end. This is why here in the condition in this PowerPoint we have said the Boolean expression within if-then statement is first evaluated. So which means first this will be evaluated. Now, if it is true, statement 1 is going to be evaluated. Otherwise, the statement number 2 is going to be evaluated. So which means the else, on else we don't put any condition. Else means otherwise, so it will do what the if else did not do. Is it clear on that? Is it clear, please? Should we continue?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So now we are going to see the following example. Here we have another example which will test whether someone is allowed to vote or not. So a person is allowed to, eligible to voting when he's or she's above 18 years old and above. Below that, the user or the person is not allowed to vote. So this here we will have two variables. We'll have a variable age as an integer, then we read age, then we test if the age is greater than or equal to 18, then we write message, the person can vote, else the person is not eligible to voting. Here we also have the flowchart. The flowchart here also is can be used to express this algorithm. Here, this is the input and the output. We read age, then we test whether age is greater than or equal to 18. If yes, the message vote is displayed, then go to stop. If no, the message don't vote is displayed, then go to stop. So those two ways can be used interchangeably. You can choose to use pseudocode, or another can choose to use the flowchart. Now we are going to talk about the third selection control structure, which is nested if. Let's have someone to read for us. Someone to read for us, please, a volunteer. Okay, see Alexa has raised her hand. Go ahead, Alexa.
Nested if selection is used where several options have to be considered to make a selection. The general format for nested if is that one.
Okay, so the general notation or format of the nested if is this one. So basically, the nested if is used when several options have to be considered. So in the above examples, the example where we were talking about largest number to check whether the number is the largest, what will happen? Let me go back to the slide here. Oh, it's on here. So what will happen if both numbers are equal? The program is here, is this one. Then the number 1 is equals to 10, num2 equals to 10. What do you think will be the output? Class, what do you think? If the users enters num1 is 10, num2 is 10, what will be the output of this program? So first it will come here in the test this condition. It will check, is 10 greater than 10? Is 10 greater than 10?
No.
So the condition will evaluate to no. Then the output will say, it will be this. It will output that num2 is greater than num1. Is it really true?
No.
It's no. So which means there we should also be considering checking whether two numbers are equal. Because it may happen that two numbers are equal. In that case, we should add another instruction. So to add that instruction will be required to use a nested if. And the nested if, here we have the notation, which is if, then we put a condition, then we execute statement 1. If the condition here is true, then else if. You see now, we write else, then if. So which means, basically when we say nested if, it is an if inside another if. So which means here we have if, the outer, we have the outer if, then we have inner if, we can have another inner if, and so on. So which means here we have else if, then we put another condition. Then when the condition is true, then this will be evaluated when this condition becomes false. But if this condition is true, this will be executed, then it goes to the end. If this condition is false, it will go to the second condition. Is the second condition true? If true, this will be executed, then it goes to the end. If the second condition is false, it will check the third condition. Then if the condition in number 3 is true, then it will evaluate, it will execute statement 3, then goes to end. If condition number 3 is false, now there is no other condition to be evaluated, so it will go in else. So which means all the above conditions are evaluated to false, then it will evaluate the condition which is any else. So this is how the the nested if works. So the statement first evaluate if the condition is true. If true, the statement is executed. If the first condition is false, then else if statement is going to be evaluated. So it will evaluate all the else if inside until it get one which is true. If it doesn't get one which is true, it will go in else, then check the execute the else info statement. Am I clear on this point?
So I have a question.
Yes.
What if it is true at the first condition? Is it necessary to put the other conditions?
Good question. She's asking, what if the first condition becomes true? Is it necessary to put other conditions? Class, what do you mean? Do you think? Anyone with the answer?
I would like to try.
Okay, go on.
Who is talking? Let's hear from Dorcas.
Well, I think that if the first condition is satisfied, then that's enough.
So for Dorcas, if the
Yeah,
condition one is true, no, that is enough.
yes, if
Alexa?
the first condition is satisfied.
Okay, thank you, Dorcas. Alexa, can you say something? Okay, so basically, when the condition evaluate to true for the first time, when the condition evaluate to true for the first time, so the remaining part of the program is ignored. So if this condition is true for the first time, so the remaining part of the program is going to be ignored, then the program will immediately go to the end of the program or of the if condition. But if the condition fails for the first time, so the second condition is going to be evaluated. If the second condition is true, then the remaining part will be ignored, then evaluate goes to the end of the condition, and so on and so on. Basically, the inner part is going to be considered only if the outer part is evaluated to false. Did you get the point?
I have a question.
Yes.
You say that, okay, if the first condition is true, then others will be like left out. They won't be evaluated. So is it isn't that like only when the program is like working? But if you're writing the pseudocode, don't you have to include others?
Yes, yeah, of course, because you don't know what the user what the user is going to enter. For example, you want the user to enter. Later, we are going to say an example where you want to check the grades, the grades according to the marks obtained. Let's say you want to check, someone got 80 and above. And when someone got 80 and above, that is grade A. We have grade B, we have grade C, we have, and so on and so on. So it's the user to enter the marks obtained, then it checks for his or her grades. So which means you are going to write all possible conditions. Then, but only one condition will be executed at once. So while you are programming, you are writing pseudocode, you have to provide all those evaluation or those conditions. Then the program will choose which part of the condition to be executed depending on the provided value. Did you get the answer? Did I answer you, please?
Yes.
Okay, so here Philippine is asking for the example. Yes, this is what we are going to see, an example. Now here we have to write this is an example, this is a pseudocode, a flowchart, but which answer to this table. We want to write, or we want to categorize, to write a program which will categorize this pupil according to the age. If someone has below 1 year old, so we put in a category of kids. Between 1 and 2 years old, this is a preschool kid. Between 3 and 5 years old, this is a pre-unity kid. Between 6 and 12, this is a primary kid. Then above 12, it's a grown-up kid. So we want to write a program which will ask the user to provide the years, number, the age of this kid, then shows the category of this student, I mean of this kid. So how should we write this program? So now let's write this program. So number one, we need to declare, we declare variable age as integer. Then what next? Next, we need to put a message. Enter your age. Then we read age. So now next, we are going to evaluate the conditions. The first condition, we have below 1 year. So now we say if age is less than 1, then we say let here, to simplify, to make our program short, let's put let's declare another variable val age as integer, then we have val category as character. Then we want, in this variable category, we want to put to store the category of this kid. Then we say if age is less than 1, let's even put or equal, then we say category equals to, what is the category? It's kid. Then we say it's kid. So when it is a character, it has to be between quotation mark. Then we need also to check the condition which is between 1 and 2. So which means it's above 2 and less than or equal to. Then we say if age is greater than 1, remember, or the second should be outside of 1 because 1 is included in the kid. Then we say and age is less than or equal to, here we have else. Then what is the category here? So the category here, it's a preschool kid. Category is equal to primary kid. Then we test another condition, else if the following condition is between 3 and 5, we say else if age is less than 2 and age greater than, so here it's age greater than 2 and age less than or equal to 5, then category will be, what will be? The category will be pre-unity kid. Pre-unity kid. Now we have another condition to test. Between 6 and 12, we say else if age greater than 5 and age less than or equal 12, then this category is primary kids. Please, if you have a question, raise your hand. Then we don't want anyone to get lost. Now, here we have we have now how many conditions? 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many conditions are remaining? So we remain with 1. So above, as you can see, all above 12 years old are considered grown up. So what do we say here? So we have students, we have less than or equal 1, between 1 and 2, between 2 and 5, between 5 and 12. So now, because we don't need to test any other condition, we will say else category equals to grown up. Then here we have to do what? We have to close and if. Now, after closing the and if, here we do what? We are going to print what? We print category, then we say end. So basically, this is how this program can be written. Or you can even write you can even say, if instead of storing the message in the category, after every condition, you say, if age less than 1, then write kids. Else if age greater than 1, and so here you can say, if, let me write this, if age less than or equal 1, then print print kid. Else if age less than 1 and age, I mean here it's greater than 1, less than or equal to, then print primary killed. Else if age greater than 2 and age less than or equal to 5, then print this is a unity kit. Else if age greater than 5 and age less than or equal to 12, then print this is a primary kit, then else say print grown up. Then we say, and if, then and. So basically all those two programs are the same and will display the same thing. Any question? Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay. Let's see. Elise understood. Santita understood. Vin understand it. Alexa understand. Okay. So please, if you have any issue, problem, or any difficulty, let us know so that we can repeat it. Okay, so I want to give you one exercise. This is exercise number 1. Okay, so I want you to just write a pseudocode, not a flowchart, for the question number 4. Then you are going to write it on your papers, then take a photo, then put it on WhatsApp group. Let's use this 10 minutes. Do question number 4. You take a picture of the answer. You can share it on WhatsApp, or you can even share your screen. You can even share your screen, then we can see what you did. So please do only number 4, and don't design a flowchart. Just write the algorithm or the pseudocode.
yari yarashize ariko hari igice isabune yarashize ejo n'igihe uyoye Derike yari iya nyuma
Okay, so okay, class. Let's have few answers. Let's have Dven. Dven, can you share with us your answers? So I hope you can all see the Devin's screen. So Devin, can you tell us what did you do?
Okay, first I declare the variables grades as character, and I enter the marks and and read it. So the first condition was if the marks are less than or equal to 70, then and the marks are greater than or equal to 70, and then the marks are less than or equal to 100, then the grade will be A, as it was given the table that from 70 to 100, the grade is A. And on the second condition, if the marks is less than or equal to 60, and the marks is, on the marks is, greater than or equal to 60, and the marks are less than or equal to 69, then the grade is B. The fourth and the third condition, then if the marks is greater than or equal to 50, then the marks are less than or equal to 59, then the grade is C. In the fourth condition, if the marks is greater than 40 and it's again less than or equal to 49, then the grade is B. Else, then the grade is equal to E below 40. Then print the grade and then end. I think that's all.
Okay, so thank you, Devin. The audience, people in the audience, anything can you say about this answer? Is there anyone who can comment on this answer, please?
I think it's correct.
Okay, Shani is saying it is true because I got the answer. It is okay, thank you, Devin. Okay, so basically the answer is correct, only that what you have to remember always, you have to remember that the variable name is case sensitive, which means if you write sorry, so I was going to say, here you have declared grades like this. Then coming on here on the line, on this line, you have used the grade with capital G and no S. On the same line, grade with capital G. Here, capital G. The same here, capital G, grade, then small g. So here, then here you have displayed grade. So basically here, it's as if you have three different variables. You have declared grades, but here you have used the grade as with capital G, grade, and grade with the grade capital, I mean small g with no s. So basically here you have three grades. So you have to remember to use the same, the variable you have declared here should be the same as what you are going to use in the whole program. So you're getting my comment? Don't forget to use the real variable you have declared. Great. One more. Can you have one more answer? Anyone else want to share the answer? I see Sentete is saying we are using different devices. Okay. Yeah, you can, but you can put your answer on WhatsApp, then I can get it. Share your answer on WhatsApp, please. Okay, so I have some answers here. So I have begin file marks as integer, then input enter the marks, read mark. If mark less than 100 and mark greater than or equal to 70, then print grade A. Then mark less than or equal to 69 and mark greater than 60, then print grade B. Then mark less than 59 and mark greater than 50 or equal, print grade C. Then mark less than 49, greater than 40, this is grade D. Else, this is grade print grade F. Okay, so this is for who? Thank you. So I have another answer here. We have mark as integer, grade as character. We read marks. If mark greater than, and this grade is A, grade is B, and then we print grade. So again on this, we have said because grade is declared as a character. So all the characters have to be enclosed. So you should put this A in quotation, double quote or single quote, B in double quote or single quote, C double quote or single quote, and D in double quote. So otherwise, it may see it as a value as separate values. So Dorcas has declared var score as integer, var grade as character, enter score, read score. If score less Dorcas, if you are hearing me, this is not less than. So you need to correct this. Less than, it's less than, then equal. Then again, why did you put the semicolon? So in algorithm, we don't put semicolons. So no need of semicolon here. Then grade A, grade B, grade C, then stop. So yeah, it is true, but you did not, you have to print out. You have to display the grades. So by saying here before end, you say print grade. So I will send you some comments. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for your answers, and others who did not share your answers, please follow the comments we gave to others to correct yours. So I have some assignment, one assignment. It's one question that you are going to do. I'm going to put this on Google Classroom. Then try to do it by tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Then should have, you have to write the algorithm, pseudocode algorithm, and you have to design its corresponding flowchart to respond, to allow MTN to do all of this. Otherwise, we should end our lesson here, our class here. We shall meet next week on the same time. Thank you. Thank you very much.